Hi guys, and welcome to a battle featuring Grombrindle, leading the forces of the Empire up against his own clanmate, Sergeant Spaghetti, and his High Elf forces. We're not going to pause this as it looks like it's going underway very quickly, so we'll quickly get through the builds before that does indeed happen. So for the forces of the Empire here in the front lines, we do have Spearmen, who are going to be chevroned up as well, going to allow them to tank a lot longer. Looks like some are even triple silver chevron. And these guys are cheerfully cheap, here to hold the line, soak up ammunition with their shields, and they can also harass, push in, and hunt down those High Elf archery lines. At the same time, High Elves are known for bringing a decent amount of cavalry, so the anti-large would certainly help there on the bonus versus large. In the secondary line, we have triple Handgunners, one of which is the Silver Bullets, as well as Hammer of the Witches, the Regiment of Renowned Great Cannon. So Grombrindle living up to his Dowie name here and come with a pretty hefty secondary line of gunners. It looks like in reserve we do have double Reiksguard, one of which is the Zintlers Reiksguard, who can Vanguard deploy. Looks like they haven't this time, however, but I do enjoy watching players have Cav in deep reserve like this, allowing them to counter enemy ambushes and also kind of, react and pop in where they need to, rather than just bombing it immediately down a flank. We do have a Jade Wizard with Regrowth and Earthblood, and the reason we have those spells here today, apart from the Earthblood's pretty good at healing in general, we have Boris Todbringer up on the skies here, and he has a hefty HP pool of 4,000 HP. You can heal him up, obviously, nicely with the Regrowth, allow him to fight dragons up in the air and all that good stuff. Down hidden in the trees here on the right hand flank we do have the Royal Outdwarf Gryphites, one of the most badass human units in the game. They're anti-large, terror causing, ridiculously good destroyers of enemy cav, and they look pretty badass in the mix, so always good to see them in action, although they are quite expensive. Now for the forces of the High Elves, this is a build I'm a massive fan of here, coming from Sergeant Spaghetti. We have triple Illyrian Reavers in the front line, fantastic for countering Outriders, Pistoliers, and even Handgunners if they can get close enough. On either flanks, we do have a couple of Spearmen to push away cavalry, and the main battle line is going to be made up of Rangers, very good at destroying state troops. In the gun line, we do have double Sisters of Avalon, and they're going to be flanking at the Talons of Torquelida. Hopefully I am saying that correctly. Regiment of Renowned Archers with light armour, who do fire damage, as well as they do imbue. If I can find it somewhere. Boop, boop, boop. There it is. They imbue flammable, 22% weakness to fire damage, and of course Sisters of Avalon do fire damage as well, so you combine these together and they can destroy units incredibly quickly, for example if they can catch Boris. We have more Spearmen in reserve, as well as a unit of Illyrian Reavers, and for a hero core we do have a Mage of High Magic coming in with Tempest Apotheosis. I believe that is a Soul Quench there, which is a pretty good magic missile damage, could be quite useful on that cannon. And we have Aleph Anar, and if you've been following my channel for a decent amount of time, you know Aleph Anar is my favourite High Elf Lord, coming in with Moonbow, Mislead, as well as Slippery. So should be some good stuff, and let's get this battle underway. So Aleph is going to be lining up some shots. I'm certainly expecting the magic missile and his magical bow attack to both go into the Hammer of Witches, trying to take it offline as quickly as possible, as it does cause a lot of problems here for the High Elf forces, pulls them out of their defensive posture. And in comes the Moonbow, and it looks like instantly it actually destroys one of the cannons, so a third of the damage output from the Hammer of Witches is already offline. Boris is getting a little over-eager and pushing forward, but the Illyrian Reavers have been pulled in, and the Handgunners have done pretty decent damage off one volley here. The Soul Quench is now coming in, targeting the Hammer of Witches and blowing up a second model, so down to just one cannon straight off the bat. And with that you can see some early reactions coming in by the Empire player, going to be pushing forward rather aggressively, knowing that he's kind of lost the range advantage here. Illyrian Reavers are able to push back Boris, but he's going to be able to heal up quite nicely. He's got way kind of long to go before he hits his healing cap, and the Silver Bullets are doing some pretty decent damage on the Illyrian Reavers, and we're now going to be seeing a bit of a slow push from the Empire forces here, not rushing headlong in, moving up as a kind of unified front and pushing the enemy back with Handgunners. Now the problem is going to occur when they get in range of the Sisters, and of course the Regiment of Renowned Light Armoured Archers as well. So we do see the first decoy going down by Aleph Anar, and it's pretty obvious which one is the decoy, but he's going to be pushing him in here, pushing away the handguns and trying to delay the initial fight, as the skirmish phase is going pretty well so far for the High Elves. We want to give as much time as well for Aleph Anar to pop some shots. Looks like he has had to pop an Apotheosis on him, however. And the Hammer of Witch is still online. A decent amount of crew left as well. So it could still be fine for a decent amount of the game. And start accumulating at least some value, as it has kind of suffered early on. So in come these shots from the Talons here. Looks like they are just focused on Spearmen at the moment, who are going to be repositioning. I'd like to see them and the Sisters kind of focus fire units together, especially the Silver Bullets. If they could pin these guys down, that would be massive value straight out of the gate, although it looks like they're going for the Spearmen instead at the moment. On the left-hand side, we do have the Reiksguard darting up the field, as well as the Zintlers straight down the gullet and pushing forward. Going to be very good at charging on top of the Rangers and pushing them back. Looks like the Silver Bullets are now under pressure, need to fall back here, taking huge missile damage from the Sisters, the Archers, as well as the Illyrian Reavers. And it looks like good micromanagement by the Empire, though. Not going to take too many shots before falling back. All Aldorf Gryphites are going at balls to the wall here and charging directly into these Rangers. There's not too much to stop them here as they do bundle in. Going to be making mincemeat of these guys in a matter of seconds. Having a lot of Overwatch fire that can come in. Big problems now for the Empire as Boris gets caught in a Tempest and focus fired by all 3 units of Archers. However, Zintlers have popped in, as well as the Demigryphs, to shut down the Sisters of Avalon, perhaps saving Boris, who is going to be getting a regrowth. And he does manage to land on top of Alathanar, but it looks like he may break regrowth, keeping him active, but he does indeed start to run from the field. The backline is a complete mess at this point, as the Cav was chucked in aggressively to try and save their Liege Lord. In the front line, Spearman is facing Spearman, which is a bit of a kind of damp lettuce contest, I suppose. But the Rangers are carving their way through the Spearmen pretty well. The Handgunners are online, which is a big saving grace here for the Empire. All 3 units are consistently pouring in damage, allowing the weaker Spearmen to actually break through and push into the back lines as well. Boris has once again returned to the fray and is trying to assassinate Alathanar where possible. And it looks like some Illyrian Reavers are going to be fighting on top of Spearmen in an attempt to bring down the Reiksguard, who've done a fantastic job so far, pushing off the Sisters of Avalon and allowing some Spearmen to catch up in support as well. Demigryphs have pushed through, forcing off the Talon, so it looks like all the Archers are offline for the High Elves, allowing Boris to play much more aggressively at this point. And he's now trying to focus down the characters, terrifying away the Mage, and it's probably a good idea to continue to chase her off and finish her off for good. Looks like Illyrian Reavers are trying to bounce out of combat, being pinned in by the Royal Aldorf Gryphites. We're up to 89 kills now, pretty scary stuff, and there may only be 12 models, but that's still a decent damage output, and of course the Terror can be very potent in the late game. Earthblood has been popped down, but the Sisters have managed to reform the ranks, although it looks like they are going after Boris at the moment. Hammer of Witches in the back line is still fine, up to 27 kills now, not too terrible, considering its kind of rough early start to the game. And the Mage of High Magic is almost certainly going to be forced off here by Boris, who there's nothing really left to kind of stop him from doing what he wishes at this point. The Jade was got a little aggressive there, pushing into the Spearmen and almost breaking, but has come back to the fray, trying to pin in the Spearmen, allowing the Handgunners to retreat safely. But it looks like good micro here from the High Elves, forcing their way through to shut down a considerable amount of units here. Looks like Illyrian Reaver Archers as well have managed to engage in combat up against the Handgunners. Probably going to see some cycle charging from these bad boys, hunting down multiple units at this point. Rangers have now got a nice surround over on this left-hand flank. Spearman against Spearman was going nowhere, so they decided to hop in here and twirl those blades around, decapitating Empire State troops left, right and centre. And yeah, these guys aren't going to hold for too much longer. Illyrian Reavers are indeed reaving in the back lines. There is some nice Overwatch fire coming in. If the Handgunners can fend off the Spearmen, they should be able to turn and deal with these rather beat-up Reavers. Looks like that is exactly what they're going to be doing here, actually, ignoring the Spearmen, trying to save this left-handed unit, who can now turn and return the favour by forcing off the Spearmen. So lovely micromanagement here with the Handgunners. Boris is incredibly beat up down here on the left-hand side. Looks like he may be able to force off the Mage, but consistent fire coming in from the Sisters of Avalon have really taken a huge toll on him, and he is right near the board edge. If he breaks here, he's certainly going to be gone for good. But however, down to just 350 health, he does land on top of these Sisters, but a late rear charge from the Illyrian Reavers does manage to break him before they indeed get terrified off. And the Mage of High Magic has rallied as well, so things are looking particularly bleak here for the Empire. They have a decent contingent in the centre pocket. Royal Aldorf Gryphites still with 11 models up to 140 kills. Did manage to protect the Jade Wizard and Spearman, and that Terror is certainly going to be good into the late game. Looks like they are going to have to charge headlong into the fire, though, of the Talons. But looks like they are up for the task. They're, pretty damn good troops all round. Driving through the fire. Looks like they're all just about going to be able to make it through, and they will be feasting happily today, throwing every single elf in that unit to the ground and breaking them off the field. Alefnar is nearly out of ammunition, up to 46 kills though is pretty good work from him overall. Hammer of Witches is still active, as well as the triple Handgunners, who are making a nice fire base here, being close enough to support each other without being close enough that you can shut them all down in one go. So as you see, little kind of drips and drabs of High Elves are popping through in the form of Rangers, but 1 or 2 volleys and their leadership should break. Decent ammunition is left on all the Handgunners. And in the back lines, it looks like the Royal Aldorf Gryphites are going to be able to shut down Alefnar here. Well, it looks like they're actually going to fall back from this, perhaps wary of all the other threats coming in. And a 360 no-scope there from Aleph does fell one of the beasts. Another Soul Quench is coming in. Looks like on the Silver Bullets, but they did manage to realign to make themselves a little bit thinner there, perhaps minimising the damage, but still good targeting priority. You can see the Spearmen desperately trying to force their way through and shut down the gun line, but a lovely crossfire going to be pinning these guys in place as he pulls away with the other Handgunners. So basically just trying to out-skirmish and kite the High Elves at this point, something he would never think the Empire would do up against the fleet of foot Elves. The Mage of Life has managed to rally here, which is pretty good. So maybe able to come back here and pop a regrowth on Earthblood on the Royal Aldorf Gryphites. Only 6 models, but if you can heal them up, they certainly pack a punch. Spearmen have been kited into the Shadow Realm here, and they have indeed started to rout. Although it looks like the Hammer of Witches may be done for. Still going toe-to-toe with some Spearmen, trying to hold the line. But these unarmoured humans are kind of just getting poked apart here, which is a pretty sad fate for them overall. Another advance is happening in the front line. High Elves slowly coming back here and trying to push in the Handgunners, who are now just about starting to run out of ammunition. Alefnar has pushed forward on his own rather aggressively here. Looks like a spell was going to go down on the Spearman. It is a Soul Quench, which is an interesting choice. I think it would be better to hunt down at the Handgunners, but still, it is going to shut down the remainder of the Empire Infantry, I suppose. Alefnar getting very aggressive here. I think the Jade Wizard should probably come over here and say hello and allow the crossfire of the Handgunners to deal with Aleph. Oh no, it was I actually got duped there. It was the decoy of Alefnar who actually popped into combat, which makes a lot more sense here. Alien Reavers are being finished off, as well as some Rangers now. It's a very slow end game here, but pretty tactical. So it is pretty much what you see is what you get. We have the Hammer of Witches being forced off here. So for the Force of the Empire, it is just triple Handgunners, and the Mage who has managed to get a fat Earthblood on the Demigryph Knights. And the High Elf forces are starting to rally here in the centre pocket. Sisters of Avalon do have the potential here to do some pretty decent damage, but standing still like this, they are going to get demolished as well from a volley from the Handgunners. 47 left in the unit. Each volley is certainly going to hurt, and it looks like good target priority from the Empire, realising the main threat is actually the range of the High Elves here. Finish those guys off, and then you can deal with the infantry as they do come in. Royal Aldorf Gryphites being used to clear up chaff on the right-hand side, and it looks like the Empire have managed to rally here. Hammer of Witches is going to be able to get back online, and we have some Spearmen pushing forward. Another Soul Quench going down on the Handgunners, doing some really lovely damage, and Alefnar is finally having to push in here. He doesn't really have too many options left, and Apotheosis has gone down on him. He needs to push with the Spearmen as well to try and shut down the Handgunners, who are wavering simply by being near the mighty elf Dark Prince. But with the Royal Aldorf Gryphites still active, that is going to be a big problem from Alefnar. Perhaps he could win in combat up against all the Handgunners with the support of his other heroes. But the Royal Aldorf Gryphites roaming around the battlefield this late is pretty terrifying stuff. The Mage of Life is being nuked on the charge in. Sisters of Avalon perhaps be able to get one volley off left. Oh no, they got shut down, and that Jade Wizard just about managed to hold the line. Have another Soul Quench is coming in, and this is going to be pretty disgusting, as it's going to be able to hit all the Royal Aldorf Gryphites as well. Again, everyone's super low here. However, Alefnar has broken and starting to run from the field. 2 units of Handgunners are out of ammunition, having to force themselves into the Spearmen. But I think the Royal Aldorf Gryphites might just be able to hold on here. The Jade Wizard is getting incredibly low, but doing some nice kind of circling here and feasting on the flesh of this Mage of High Magic. Spearmen in the distance are coming back, but it looks like army losses is going to kick in. A very well-fought game there, and a Pyrrhic victory for the forces of the Empire and Grom Brindle. So shout out to both of these players, clanmates as well, going toe-to-toe, taking no prisoners, however, in a very vicious affair. Massive shout out to Grom Brindle as well for sending this one in via my Discord. Hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and comment. I do get back to all my comments, it just takes me a little while. Should hopefully do some more later today. And if you want more Total War Warhammer content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. As for the builds, I'm a massive fan of this high elf build all round. I kind of stated that at the start of the battle, and to kind of explain my reasons why, but I think it has good answers for most of what the Empire can bring, and it's always good to see Alephanar in action. As for the forces of the Empire, it was a little bit of a rough start with the Hammer of Witches losing 2 models immediately, but those Handgunners, 110, 70, and 127, really did kind of a number over on the Elf force. Imagine to force back the Illyrian Reavers early on really helped out, allow them to lay down that consistent fire, and then the Cav could roam in the back lines relatively freely, mopping up Sisters of Avalon, archers, and the like. So anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.